I'd like to also welcome here A.A. Grima, representing the Office of the Secretary to the Government of the Federation. Your Excellencies, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, His Excellency the former President talked about those who earn salary who must be taken good care of in the pension scheme. If there's one person who is here who understands their pain post-employment, is a person who is representing the President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. And she's also the head of the civil service that I consider the nerve center of any administration. It's therefore my honor and pleasure to welcome here the President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, represented here today by the head of the civil service of the Federation, Mrs. Winifred Oyo-Ita, to declare this conference open.
Your Excellencies, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, it is indeed an honor for me to represent His Excellency, President Muhammadu Buhari, GCFR, at this very, very august occasion. Therefore, with great honor, allow me to present His Excellency's speech. Today, we mark yet another important day in the history and development of African pension systems as we witness the third edition of the World Pension Summit, Africa Special. I am therefore very pleased to welcome this august assemblage of accomplished and world-class professionals on pension matters who are gathered here today in Nigeria to discuss various aspects of pension administration under the theme Pension Innovations, the African Perspective. Distinguished participants, ladies and gentlemen, it is globally acknowledged that pension matters occupy a strategic place not only as a vital component of social security, but also as a vehicle for nation building. Accordingly, Africa has given considerable attention in the recent past to pensions and related issues, largely due to the myriad of challenges encountered in the administration of pensions, as well as the economic downturn in many countries on the continent. Indeed, governments in most African countries were compelled by their peculiar socio-economic circumstances to either make parametric changes to their pension schemes or a complete paradigm shift from the defined benefit scheme to the defined contribution scheme. While the former model was mainly adopted by the advanced countries, developing countries, including many African countries, opted for the latter model. Interestingly, we are beginning to see some developed countries also gravitating towards the contributory pension scheme. In the case of Nigeria, in 2004, we established the contributory pension scheme due to its obvious advantages, including its sustainability as a system, robust framework that eliminates incentives for corruption, and its ability to generate investable long-term funds that drive economic development. It is noteworthy that within 12 years of its implementation, the contributory pension scheme has to a large extent stabilized our pension administration system. For instance, before the reform, Nigeria had huge pension liabilities in trillions of naira, but now the contributory pension scheme has generated over 5.83 trillion worth of pension assets as at 30th June 2016, which are invested in various sectors of the Nigerian economy. I believe that other African countries that have embarked on pension reforms share similar experiences with Nigeria. We have also embarked upon extending the coverage of the contributory pension scheme to employees of state and local governments, in line with the provisions of the Pension Reform Act 2014. Most state governments have adopted the scheme and are at various levels of implementation. Our pensions regulator, PENCOM, is working assiduously to extend the net to cover the informal sector under the micro-pension scheme. PENCOM has been asked to step up its enforcement drive to ensure full compliance by public and private sector institutions in line with the enabling law. Furthermore, part of the commitments of this administration is to ensure that within the scarce resources available to it, inherited outstanding pension liabilities of the federal government is being addressed. Finally, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, permit me to note that Nigeria, and indeed most African countries, are facing many challenges in the areas of the economy and security. These challenges heighten the demands on our meager resources and constrain our pursuit of infrastructure, which is traditionally seen as the sole responsibility of government. This summit is therefore a welcome development as it brings together experts, professionals in pensions and related fields, and indeed governments to discuss and exchange ideas on strategies to attract the much-needed private sector funding from both within and outside the continent. And this is to complement the efforts of national governments. It is also an opportunity for us as African countries to listen, learn, and share our perspectives on how best to move the African economic agenda forward. The federal government of Nigeria, on its part, will work to ensure that the required channels and support are put in place for pension funds and other institutional investors to provide the required financial intermediation in addressing Nigeria's infrastructure gaps. I hope other African countries and governments would follow suit. I therefore encourage delegates to actively engage and participate in these discussions so that the desired objectives can be achieved. On this note, it is my honor to declare open the third edition of the World Pension Summit, Africa Special. Thank you and God bless.
That round of applause is for the head of service. Can we now make it presidential? Thank you very much. Let me also, one more time, specially welcome to Nigeria the Honorable Minister of Labor. Did I get that right? From Uganda? Public Service. You're actually sitting beside the woman in charge of our civil service. So two service people sitting together. So I'd like to welcome you very special to Nigeria. At the start of the first plenary, we'll be hearing your voice to tell us how it's run in the public service of Uganda. I'd like to welcome you one more time to Nigeria. Thank you very much. Let's appreciate him, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you very much. Thank you. And so, Your Excellencies, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, we'll have a short break of 20 minutes or thereabouts for photographs and for tea, and then we're back here. And then our first plenary session will be focusing on how to make revolutionary strides in pensions by African countries. Well, the former president said we should make revolutionary strides with caution. I don't know what the twin brothers will think, but when we kick off, we'll see where the caution will come in. I'd like to thank all of you. Shall we rise now for the national anthem?